What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Got some crawler duels for you guys to check out. I believe that we have two crawlers, obviously new archetype that came out in Circuit Break. I play around with it on my live stream. It can be a fun deck at times, but it's definitely got some speed problems. It's not even just that it's a flip effect based archetype. Like the archetype is really slow if you don't have the field spell, because then it's really hard to unload your hand. To make your like link plays, you basically need a lot of token producing cards like Dandelion, Scapegoats, and Wormbait. And if you don't have those, your deck kind of moves at a snail's pace. Also, the deck does have a flip effect Stratos, but it doesn't search the field spell. It only searches other, like, you know, crawler monsters, which is fine. But when you're playing against like turbo decks like, you know, Spirals and other decks like Pendulum Magicians, it just ends up being too slow. Also, I think that crawlers are better suited for the OCG ban list, where they have multiple copies of Dandelion and they also have multiple copies of Pot of Avarice, which would be really good in this deck because, you know, being able to put back your link monsters like Mrs. Radiant and Krawler, the cards that replace themselves, like putting them back in your extra and then drawing two cards is like fucking huge, especially when those link monsters are paying you back at the same time. Now, this guy actually runs Verdant Sanctuary in the main deck. It's an okay card. It does replace your monsters, your flip effect monsters that die, but it is just kind of slow. You're basically adding another level to crawler from your graveyard, excuse me, from your deck to your hand. It's fine, but you know, that card obviously can't defend you if your opponent is super pushing at that point. And the flip effect monsters are flip face up when they go to the graveyard. So, you know, hopefully you can, you know, make advantage or at least go even with your flip effect. And then, you know, Verdant Sanctuary is supposed to rack up advantage very slowly over time. So he does search the crawler slash world legacy, what's it called, field spell. It's a nice card. When your flip effect monster dies in battle, you basically get to kill the monster that killed it plus your flip effect, so it's pretty decent. Now he's playing against Gear Town in this Ancient Gears in this duel. Ancient Gears open up pretty much perfectly. This is the two card combo you always want to start with, where you have Catapult and Gear Town. He's going to solemn the Catapult, which was the right decision, because usually if you don't, your opponent will get an Ancient Gear Wyvern from their deck plus an Ancient Gear Golem or a Reactor Dragon. It's just a lot of damage, plus they can just get massive pluses from the Wyvern. If the Wyvern searches Ancient Gear box, that can add another monster as well. And if they have something like Power Bond or Hound, then you might be looking at the one of the big fusion monsters coming out and just killing you. So he's going to go ahead and give up on the Ancient Gear side of the deck, and now he goes for the True Draco side. He blows up the Hound. Hound's not useful without Wyvern and without having that combo, essentially. So he blows up the Hound and he replaces it with a True King's Return, which he set, which is okay, I guess. He's going to flip over Axon, which is going to MST that copy of Diagram. Now he makes Krawler. It's fine. Krawler is a good card. In fact, all the crawler link monsters are pretty good. When they die, they basically replace themselves. Now here's where the Gear Town True Draco player, you know, Ancient Gear True Draco player messes up, right? So he tributes two of his cards. He tributes Apocalypse and Return, and he's going to go ahead and pop Krawler, right? But the problem is he chains Master Peace's effect to destroy the Gear Town that he set on his opponent's side of the field with set rotation. The reason that this is a problem is Gear Town goes to the graveyard first as Chain Link 2, and that means it misses the timing. He would have, had he just waited until Krawler had resolved, he could have still blown up the Gear Town and he would have just gotten a free Ancient Gear monster from his deck. Like, he made his own card miss the timing. I don't even know how you do that. That's why you saw some people in the OCG playing Spiral Gear Town, they would blow up the Gear Town with their super agents, but they wouldn't do it they wouldn't, you know, blow it up in like the middle of a chain. That's dumb, because then you make your card miss the timing. Now keep in mind, this Masterpiece is like susceptible to spells and monster effects. That's why he didn't attack into the Crawler Spine, because it's basically a Man-Eater bug and it would have blown up the copy of Masterpiece. He does take it down, but I mean, he still loses out to Regeki, and you can see he has a Darko in his hand as well. He does have the Crawler Glia. This is the Stratos dude that I was talking. No, actually no. This is the one that specials from the graveyard. All right, so let's see what he's going to do. I believe he activated Catapult from the graveyard on Castle. That got him Wyvern. He also has Reactor Dragon on the field. He's actually doing a lot of damage. Like, he came back, but, you know, Krawler still had the Darko in his hand. He's going to blow out everything. And I believe he set Receptor. That is the Stratos. But, again, it doesn't add the field spell, which You see how you have these monsters? You'll have a bunch of crawler monsters in your hand. Like, he searches a monster, which is fine, but he still has like 2 crawlers in his hand. He can't do anything with them. Like, this is the slow part of the deck, and you can't really do that much damage in this deck. I mean, his opponent has a completely open field, and he only attacks for 2200. Even if he would have went into his extra deck, he probably would have summoned one of the crawler link monsters, and they basically tap out at like 2000 defense for link 2. So, you know, it's kind of a really big speed issue that crawlers do have. So he summons his Subterror Link monster, which is actually pretty good in this deck. But you see a top deck of he has the top deck of Gear Town, and then he activates Catapult, and he has 2 Reactor Dragons. And I think he made a colossal mistake here. He's going to go in main phase 2 for True King of All Calamities against a flip deck. Oh my god. Once I saw that, I was like, bro, kill me now. You're playing against a flip effect deck. Why would you give up your Reactor Dragons to go into a monster that stops, like, it stops effects during your opponent's turn, but if your opponent is playing a flip deck, they're just going to set cards. So he goes for Krawler, knowing that its effect is irrelevant. He doesn't need to use its effect. So he basically loses both of his pieces of materials. He loses both of his materials on Calamities for nothing, and then the guy ends up getting 2 monsters to replace the Krawler anyways, including the Spine, which can just blow up the Calamities, and he can basically just kill him now. He's going to go into Aberration. I believe he might go into... Nope. Okay. I thought maybe he was going to go for another link, but not even necessary. He's just going to OTK him. Well, not OTK. He only had to do like 2,000... He only had to do like 4,000 damage. Not an OTK, but he was just going to kill him. That was just terrible mismanagement by the Ancient Gear True Draco player. He made his Gear Town miss the timing. He goes into True King of All Calamities when the play doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, I honestly question how experienced he actually was with that deck, but it's fine. We're gonna go into duel number 2. And this one is against ABC. ABC opens with Bujin Tsukiyumi. I really still don't like this play. I don't even know if, honestly, I don't even know if ABC should really even be running Tsukiyumi anymore, because when you go with Tsukiyumi as your turn 1 play, I mean, it's fine, it's cute to get you deeper into your deck, but your opponent doesn't have, like, they have no fear of ABC Buster Dragon at that point, so like, what's really the big deal? Like, you're not going, you can't summon your boss monster because you've locked out your extra monster zone, but whatever. He's going to go ahead and special summon. Now he's going to normal summon. See, when you actually do that, when you can do 2 summons in a turn with your field spell, then you can actually get your link monsters on the turn on the board turn 1, and that's pretty good. You see, again, he's going to use it, and now he has, you know, 2 pretty big monsters. Oh yeah, this is, what's it called? This is the Ojama ABC build, right? Like the one that that Lithium was playing. Alright, this guy might have not had any legitimate plays. He did activate the Ojama spell, which is actually pretty good. Ojamification, if I'm not mistaken. Ojama Matification. Ojama Matification. Wow, say that name 5 times fast. And I believe he is going to... No, I think he has to go into, what's it called? He's probably going to go into Decode Talker first, because his extra monster zone is still locked. So he does go into Decode Talker, but I believe ABC Buster Dragon will be making an appearance. The problem is, once you let your opponent get this many Krawler and Link monsters on the field, it's pretty hard to get them off the field without having them trigger. Like, you need so much removal. He gets rid of Verdant Sanctuary, and he goes for 2 Buster Dragons. He blows up the field spell, which is, I guess, okay. Not sure if I would have blown it up right now. That does mean he can attack over the flip monsters, and he doesn't have to worry about his monsters dying in battle. The problem is, again, he's able to just fill his field up so hard with flip effect monsters, and he's able to take a couple of them out. Axon is going to get rid of the what's it called, the Union Hanger. Now the interesting thing is, because he has 2 Buster Dragons, he cannot tag both of them out. Like, I think he actually locked himself out with this Proxy Dragon play. I don't know about that. Yeah, he can't actually tag them both out. He can tag one of them out, and you see he has a Krawler Spine here, so, you know, it's possible he might lose one of these things. He's going to special summon Krawler Spine. He's going to summon Glia, which is going to get a Link monster back. He is going to, no, I think he actually just blew up B. Now he makes Mrs. Radiant, and he's going on the offensive. And this is the really cool thing about the Krawler deck. When you can get a bunch of Link monsters on the field, a lot of times the Link monsters that you have on the field will give you stats. So if you can get like 3 different ones, this monster only has a base of 2,000 attack, and it's at 3,100. Now he's going to go for a Utopia play. That told me he was probably a little desperate. Again, he's locking himself out of going into ABC Buster Dragon as long as he does have Utopia on the field. Now this was an interesting card I had never seen before. It's called Block Spider, and this card is a cock block because when you have two of them on the field, your opponent cannot attack. It's basically like, is it the old, I think it's the Dupe Frog play where you have two Dupe Frogs on the field. Now I'm not sure what that was about, where Mrs. Radiant crashes into Utopia the Lightning, which obviously means it's not going to activate. So I don't know what that was about. Maybe he misclicked there. He's going to switch those Block Spiders in defense mode. And the cool thing is, as long as he has this stall, he's perfectly fine just being able to attack. This is a terribly slow pace, but this is what Crawlers want to be able to play at, especially considering his extra monster zone is completely open. So he's just going to constantly attack Gold and Silver Gadget. I would too, because even though they replace themselves, you're going to run out of them eventually. And the ABC player is probably going to be forced into getting rid of his own, like he's probably going to be forced to getting rid of his own Utopia to go into something like Deco Talker so that he can break up the Block Spider play, unless he has like Regeki. If he has, you know, Regeki, obviously he can do that. Now he did finally get his Krawler Trap, which is World Legacy's Puppet. This is the one that lets you manually flip your dudes face up and face down. It's a really good card. I thought he was going to hit that with the Cosmic Cyclone, but nope, he had other plans. He went for something completely different. Goes for Odama Modification again, and this time I think he is probably going to go for Deco Talker. Nope, he has the Forbidden Chalice. That's what he does. But then he still goes for Deco Talker anyway, so forget what I just said. Obviously, when he turns off the Block Spider, he's able to now target it with attacks, the other one. But I believe he did banish one of the Krawler. Yeah, he banished one of the Krawler Link monsters, but now he loses his ABC Buster Dragon because it can't tag out during your turn. He loses that to the Krawler Spine. If these cards were just like much easily, if they were in a position where you could just search them easier, I don't know, maybe Crawlers would be a little better of a deck. He is going to lose it to Tornado Dragon, but I don't know, I feel like he's kind of lost the duel at this point. I feel like he doesn't even need the Solemn. I feel like he can just go into Links. He goes into Mrs. Radiant. He has the bigger monster on the board by far, and Deco Talker is really strong when it's linked up with a bunch of monsters. When it's only linked to one, or when it's only linked to like two, it is something that you can definitely take down in Crawlers. You just have to constantly summon your link monsters, and you can see he's going ham at this point. I think okay, I thought maybe he's gonna link one more time, because I've had turns where I've gone into like 4 link monsters, not all in that turn, but I have had turns usually involving Wormbait, Scapegoat, or Dandelion, where I'll make like 4 link monsters, and I'll be able to get like my Krawler link monsters that are like 1900. I'll be able to get them like 3,000 attack, which is pretty powerful considering all of them on the field will be that strong. So anyways, just a nice little Krawler duel. I'm not sure how many people are actually interested in this deck, but I might do an IRL deck profile. It kind of depends on I guess how long it takes me to get the cards. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, please give the video a thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on those notifications for daily videos.